Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have to ask a question. Should a consultant who potentially, allegedly, makes mistakes that results in the deaths of patients face prosecution for those mistakes? That's question number one. Question number two, if the consultant then resigns instead of facing any kind of inquiry, is that enough? Because that is exactly what's happened. Greater Glasgow Health Board, already notorious, as you know, for my dealings with Leslie Roberts, it's gone on. It's sinking lower than a snake's belly, really, because now there's been a series of deaths, and the police should have been called in. However, when asked whether they've been called in or not, the Health Board refuses to answer, which undoubtedly means no, they haven't. And the consultant who's responsible, allegedly responsible, has resigned. And I think that they're now trying to sweep it under the carpet. Yes, don't worry, people died, but look, he's resigned, so everything's fine. I don't think that's good enough. What do you think? Well, let's have a look and see what you think. Here goes. So, Greater Glasgow Health Board refused to say if police have been called in over patient deaths. Now, when they say they refuse to say if it has been done, that means it undoubtedly hasn't, because if the police had been called in, they would have undoubtedly said so. The fact that they're not saying, you can just take it as read, they haven't. So NHS, and they don't want to, well, two reasons. One, they don't want to embarrass themselves, but two, they don't want the police anywhere near their records, given how bad they've been in every other area. That's why the police, of course, haven't been called in. Anyway, NHS bosses revealed last week that 3 patients died after a consultant failed to carry out appropriate care. But that, to me, immediately says corporate manslaughter. But he resigned before disciplinary proceedings could be brought. I don't think that by resigning, you should not be disciplined. Resigning from your job is not your get out of jail free card. The police do it as well. Oh, we would have prosecuted him, but he's resigned, so we'll just let the matter drop. It's not, resignation should not be abnegation. You're still responsible. You've still got to face the music, and it's still going to be criminal proceedings. A scandal hit Health Board, one of the worst in Scotland, is refusing to confirm if they have called in Police Scotland over the deaths of 3 patients linked to a hospital consultant. It can be revealed. And of course that means they just absolutely haven't. Because as I say, the last thing they want are policemen running around their hospital asking questions because people might talk. And they cannot afford to have that. Greater Glasgow and Clyde Health Board last week disclosed that 3 patients who had a colonoscopy died after a doctor failed to carry out appropriate follow-up care. The unnamed consultant resigned before disciplinary proceedings can be brought against him, and it remains unclear whether, by doing so, he escapes further censures. No, he's got to be prosecuted. If he's failed to do his job, and that's resulted in the deaths of patients, he must be held responsible. But not only him, he must be held responsible on a personal basis. He was the doctor. But also the hospital must be held responsible, and the management must be held responsible for failure of corporate oversight. All of them need to be questioned by police and to have all of their records gone over. And of course that's why they're not calling in the police. They'd end up in jail for completely different reasons, perhaps. Anyway, the Health Board, the largest in Scotland and the UK, with 35 hospitals and 38,000 staff to care for almost 2 million people, is refusing to confirm whether or not they've informed the police about the deaths, saying only they were following all due processes in this matter. And as I say, that means, and we always say it, when they can't say yes, they mean no. So refusing to answer means no, they have not called in the police. Police Scotland said they were not aware of the matter, having been reported to them. And the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service said they could not confirm their involvement without the details of the individual concerned. And everyone's keeping stum. So there's this doctor running around allegedly killing people because of his inability to actually do his job. And they're not even saying his name. We need to be aware of who this doctor is, this doctor of death is. It's public safety, surely. A spokeswoman for the Crown Office and the Procurator Fiscal Service said, careful consideration will be given to any reports of alleged criminal conduct which are submitted by the police or any specialist reporting agency to the Procurator Fiscal. They continued, criminal proceedings will be raised if the reports contain sufficient evidence of a crime and if it's appropriate and in the public interest to do so. Oh, so they may have significant evidence of a crime, but it may not be in the public interest to prosecute it. When it's a doctor killing people, allegedly, I think there's a great deal of public interest to do so. And more than that, there's a great deal of importance on getting the police into that hospital and looking through the records and seeing all the shady stuff that has undoubtedly gone on. These people, obviously you follow the Leslie Roberts stuff that's gone on. That's the same hospital. The private investigators going after the families of patients. That's the same hospital. That's the same health board, rather. That's who these people are. Shady AF, as they say. And now they're actually admitting that their doctors are killing people, and they're not even calling the police because, they've got far, far too much to hide. Anyway, health chiefs are continuing to refuse to identify the consultant at the centre of the scandal, insisting that the decision to withhold the name of the consultant was taken following legal advice. And so if they don't name him and he gets a job somewhere else and kills someone else, does that mean that the hospital board that decided not to name him are responsible for those deaths? Would that be the legal advice? A spokesman added, the consultant no longer works for the NHS GGC. Well, that's excellent news, but where's he working now? What's his name? I don't want him. I need to know his name so I can avoid him. He said, we understand that he's not practiced anywhere else since they resigned. They understand that, but they can't confirm it. It's also emerged that the consultant has not been struck off by the General Medical Council. The body said they were aware of the Health Board review of endoscopy cases and were looking into the concerns. So he's not been struck off. So he could well be working elsewhere. And nobody knows who he is because they won't name him. So next time you need a colonoscopy, you go to the hospital. This guy's about to shove this up your rear end, up your fundament. You don't know if he's the one that's killed patients. Now, there's not much trust in the NHS there if you think, you know what, this guy could be the one. I don't want him putting that up my rear end. Anyway, the GMC, the independent regulator for doctors in the UK, declined to say whether the consultant has been or was likely to be struck off. In other words, nobody is talking. Nobody is telling people that who this doctor is, what he's done, what his name is, where he is, or whether you, as a member of the public, are in any danger. They're also not saying whether this guy's going to be investigated by the police and prosecuted for corporate manslaughter, which he undoubtedly must be if people are dying. I'm not saying he's got to be prosecuted, but he's got to be investigated, surely. The 3 patients who died were among 6 patients harmed between 2020 and 2022 when they did not receive suitable care following the procedure. The male consultant responsible was suspended but resigned before disciplinary proceedings started. Resignation should not mean you don't get prosecuted or censured. It's not you get out of jail free. It's not you get out of jail free card, I was going to say. But it seems to be used as one, doesn't it? The Health Board has apologised and contacted all affected patients. But what about future patients? Are you going to write to them and say, well, it turns out that you're about to be having this thing shoved up you by a doctor who's already killed 3 and harmed 3 others? But, it's your choice. Where's the duty of care here? The vast majority of colonoscopies performed by the doctor were for patients in the bowel cancer screening programme. A review found the doctor did not consistently follow up the results of investigations, and some patients had missed the opportunity to be treated, including a number of people who went on to develop malignancy. NHS GGC said it had reviewed 2,700 patients who had colonoscopies between January 22 and November last year, and it found 100 patients treated by the doctor in question were overdue for their follow-up colonoscopy. So there could be 100 deaths. Surely the police have to be in on this. Last week, Scottish Labour Deputy Leader and Health Spokeswoman Jackie Bailey said this is deeply concerning and it is shocking to think that there's been colonoscopy patients in Glasgow missing out on vital follow-up care. I'm also angry that it's taken 3 years for anything to come to light on this issue. The lack of transparency is unacceptable. Lessons need to be learned so this does not ever happen again to any other patient in Scotland or in England, because the guy could be in England now, or Wales, or Northern Ireland, could be anywhere in the world. People need to know who he is, what he's done. They need to know what he looks like. They need to know when they're going to get this that they're not likely to die. That's how important it is. But they're keeping stum. Glasgow Health Board, keep their mouths shut because they don't want police rifling through their records. Coming up. Now, all this shadiness, all this cover-up, all this sharp practice, all the secrecy, none of it is to protect the doctor. None of it is to protect the patients. It's all there simply to stop the board, the management of GCC NHS from going to prison. They know if the police go in and do a full search and pull all the records out and speak to people, that the truth will come out. And all the shady things that they've allegedly done over the years will come out. And there'll be a lot of stuff that will be completely illegal and that people will go to prison. And so, of course, they're not calling the police in. They're not doing anything. They're trying to shove everything under the carpet, make it go away. They'll be down there now, allegedly shredding the stuff. They don't want anyone to know what they've done because it is so very bad. And if they spoke to people, people would blow the whistle on them. It would look awful. And that's what all this is about. Screw patient safety, you know. And then they're saying, oh, we've got to do this for the doctor. No, I mean, I want him. He needs to be named. Named, shamed, shown pictures of. But the patients, actual patients and prospective future patients, they need to be protected. Release who this man is. But also go in and do a full and thorough inspection of every record in that hospital, and then arrest the board where necessary, if necessary. I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been most illuminating, because it just goes to show how bad the GCC is. Simply covering everything up, like I say, just to stop the board from going to prison. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, stay out of the GCC hospitals if you need one. And goodbye.